Yo, what's up, dogs? I am back once again with another movie review. It's been a while. I know it's been a while because, like, the last movie review I think I did was like Bring Her Back, which is way back in the day. And, during the summertime, I'm pretty busy and I just don't do movie reviews in the summer. I don't know why. I'll try and do better next summer, but I'm usually just like, too toasted to actually talk about movies. But here we are near the end of September. I just finished having my birthday. This is the movie I went and saw on my birthday. So I thought, you know what? Better late than never movie reviews. Here we are. So this is the new program on the channel because I'm going to always be late when I review a movie, regardless. And that's because I like to sit with the movie a little bit, and just let it like smolder in my brain and think about it a little bit. I could do out of the theater movie reviews, but nah, because I see the movies so late sometimes, like at night, that I just want to go home and go to bed because I got to go to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So here we are. Let's start with the classic intro to my movie reviews. I went and saw this on my birthday. No, actually, I saw it on the 18th because it was a 10:50 showing on the Thursday. So I saw it on the 18th. We went at like 10, no, 10:30 we went and saw this. Recliner chairs. I had sushi beforehand, like all you can eat sushi. And I'll be honest with you, I had a nap before I went and saw this movie. And it was a small little turnout for a 10:30 show. Not many people. Like I would like to say 10, 15 at the best. I didn't do a head count, and all I got for concessions was a drink and a slushie because I was thirsty from after after eating all that sushi. So that nap in between the sushi time saved me because I did not fall asleep watching this movie. So we're going to just jump right in. As you can see, my notes are on the side here, and these are just mostly like notes for my brain to think about when we go over the story. And there's going to be a lot of spoilers ahead, as always. So let's just jump right in. I yap a lot. This might be a little bit longer than a normal video. So let's see how this goes, shall we? So, the story of him is okay. It's a sports movie, right? It's a football movie to a degree because that is the driving force behind our main character Cam, and in his household. And sorry, Cam is played by Tyreek Withers, and Cam's household, since he was a little child, was very football heavy. Like, you know what I'm talking about for those football homes. Sunday night is football night or day, whatever, and that is just ingrained in this kid's life. And his father was really adamant about becoming a football star, and he has it in him, and that is a big word. Him, you are that guy. You can do anything you put your mind to and your body to be him. And him is kind of like the goat of football, and that is instilled in him. And as we see this character started as his childhood, we catch up with him when he's pretty much, I would like to say, Division 1 college kid. And I'm sorry right now because I'm not like a football head when it comes to outside of the NFL and like what the NCAA and all this, like all the other football stuff or college football in general. I don't know it that well. I'm not well versed into it, but this is a very high level player. He is going to get drafted first round pick, and he's going to go to a team called the Saviors. Now, on the Saviors is Isaiah, who's played by Marlon Wayans, and Isaiah is a freak. He's a genetic freak. He's shown at the beginning of the movie to get a super serious injury where he like shatters his, it looks like he really just shatters his knee, and it's a gruesome little scene. It looks beautiful. The effects on it, nice. And so we are led to believe that this guy is able to come back from such a career ending injury and also become the GOAT of the league and win 8 championships on technically a bum knee, right? He's that guy. He is also him. And so the concept here is that Cam is going to become the number 1 draft pick for the Saviors, which is the team Isaiah plays on. Isaiah is on the way out because he's old and he's looking to pass the torch on to Cam. However, something happens to Cam when he's out one night practicing and he gets hit over the head by a this is where it gets weird, by a mallet of sorts, like a hammer. It's like a big medieval weapon, like a hammer. Um, and he gets clunked over the head, by a dude dressed as the mascot, and he's knocked out unconscious, and we are that's it, like he's knocked unconscious, and it throws his career in potential jeopardy, right? And like he's very concerned about that, his family's concerned about that. They're actually, his mom is very concerned that he shouldn't be playing or doing the combine, which is like the review before he gets drafted, right? And they're very like, should he do it, because he's suffered very traumatic head trauma, and he has probably a severe concussion, severe CTE, and they are very wishy-washy. Like the family's like, you should do it, you shouldn't do it, and Cam's like, I'm gonna do it because I have something to prove to my father. By the way, the father's dead. I have something to prove to my father and to the family that I am him, and no pain, no gain. Like it's a lot of masculine machismo going on with this character that's driving him to elevate himself and go beyond the combine and become that guy. However, he doesn't do it. He ends up not doing it. He doesn't do it, and he doesn't get to be drafted. And it's like you would expect to be like, oh, there's a downfall to this in here, but it's not like that at all. It's more now like Cam doesn't know what to do. He has no opportunities. He's kind of like a little bummed out on it because he pushed so hard to get to where he's supposed to get to, but he's set back by the concussion slash CTE and the injury. And he's got these staples in his head. It looks really good. Like the effects that they did on there, it looks really clean. It looks like it just suits him. Like it's nice. It looks good, fresh. However, I'm gonna say however a lot. It's been a while since I've done these reviews, guys, so I'm a little rusty with my language that I like to use here. Isaiah reaches out to Cam. Oh no, actually, he reaches out to his agent, Cam's agent, which I didn't write in here. I should have, because he's kind of semi-important. Um, and he says to Cam, "Hey, you have a chance for a private tryout with Isaiah, and if Isaiah likes you and you pass his private tryout for 1 week, you will have a chance at being a part of the Saviors. This is the one and done. There's no other opportunities like this, and if you can pass it, we're going to go to the league." And so Cam takes it, and then this is where the movie the whole movie's weird. It really is weird. It comes across very weird. It comes across very almost like a rap music video at times, or like a sports video, like a very video package, or even very commercials, like Nike commercials, Gatorade commercials. It's very stylized, and there's a lot of hip hop in this movie as well, like just for the soundtrack elements that really drives the narrative along. And we do have chapters for this movie as well. So we have the first intro bit, and then we get into like chapter. And the chapters are kind of broken down as to like day one, day two, day three, day four, with Cam inside the compound of Isaiah, and we have a beautiful shot. There's two beautiful shots. Actually, there's a lot of good important shots in here. But as Cam is driving, being driven to the compound of Isaiah, there's this group of groupies, so to speak, outside of the compound that are very loyal to Isaiah, and they'll do anything for him. And they're creepy and spooky and weird, almost to a demonic level. And we're going to get into the imagery a little bit more as we talk about this movie, because things start getting weird, okay? And as Cam enters this very beautiful building, I don't know who the architecture is on this building, but it almost looks like you can look at this building, the way they framed it up in the screen. Sorry, yeah, in the screen, in the frame. It almost looks like he's entering like I don't. It almost looks like he's entering a womb of a woman in a sense. Like he's entering a domain. He's entering the woman or the devil or the demon. Like the way it's framed up, you're just like, oh, you can see a lot of different imagery going on here, and it's like, wow, he's going into potentially death, right? And we'll go into that a little bit more as we go. So when he's in there, he meets Isaiah, and Isaiah is weird, and Marlon Wayans is awesome as Isaiah. Like I have to say this, like he really drives the movie as this character, and you are really interested in every scene that Marlon Wayans is on the screen, and he brings a certain aura slash charisma to the screen, and you're really transfixed on this really weird character. Like I think I think he's just super cool. Like he's one of the main reasons to see the movie. Is just see his performance. And I also like Tyreek Withers, when he enters the compound, he really becomes kind of Alice in Wonderland in a sense. Very, yeah, I'd go Alice in Wonderland. I don't want to say fish out of water, but you could say that as well because he's very, um, he's enamored by Isaiah because Isaiah is like his hero, his sports hero. And so there's that certain level of respect that he gives Isaiah. But as the two work together through the combat, through the combine that Isaiah makes for Cam, you start to see the the respect and trust wither away between Cam and Isaiah, where Cam really starts to sit there and go, "What the hell am I in? Like, what is this?" Which goes more along the lines of the Alice in Wonderland, because it's like there's something new and spooky and kooky every freaking turn around the corner here, and that's where I'm kind of like, this movie's cool. There's certain things about this movie where I'm like, this is cool, and we have the scene where it's like the first day one of the compound training or combine training, there's like a lot of stuff going on, like a lot of moving parts are going on. Like we have Jim Jeffries as Marco here, who is like the sports nutritionist physician, and he's just moving in and out, and he's like stabbing Cam. It's a really great scene where they measure him up and they grab his blood and they do all these things. So as you're watching this movie, you're kind of sitting there thinking, like, you're trying to piece together, like, what do you think this movie's about, because there's a lot going on. And I'm like, excuse me. I remember when I was talking, like I wasn't talking, but I was like saying, like Jake was with me, and I was like, "Yo, are they going to clone him?" Because you have these ideas because you don't understand Isaiah's um, Isaiah comes across as very like immortal because of the injury that you see. You almost know from all the sports stuff that you know in real life that it's almost impossible for this character Isaiah to come back from such an injury. So your brain is already triggering lots of ideas of like, well, is he using stem cells? Is he using like voodoo magic, andromochrome, blood from baby? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all these, is he a vampire? Like you're coming up with all these ideas as you're watching the movie, and you see Marco grab like, take Cam's blood sample, and now you're like, whoa, wait a minute, is he cloning him? Is he making steroids? Like there's things, a lot of moving parts going on, and it's really interesting. It really gets the brain going and the imagination going, and as that happens, we have other combine scenes that go on. There's the the training scene of where Cam is doing a football drill, a passing drill, um, with oh, that whole scene is crazy. The passing drill scene is probably like really well. It's really well done. It's beautiful tension building, and it's almost like Cam is facing off like with the first round of demons in this realm that he's in, and especially by the presentation of the group of guys that just come out, and it's just like, I think they're playing some drill hop music, and it's just like, you're like, oh man, these guys are some bad dudes, you know what I'm saying? And they look tough, and they look mean, and they look like they're going to destroy Cam, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just this whole vibe. And there's this other character, Malik, who is like the henchman, like the muscle, the guy that's always around. He always he really looks like Questlove, and his he's played by Maurice Green, and he's a very menacing presence every time he's on the screen. And he's silent, he doesn't talk, he's just there as a physical specimen, and you are afraid of this character, and you are questioning like, what is this guy all about? You know what I'm saying? And it's just a beautiful scene of just bad dudes playing football. You know what I'm saying? And in the sequence, every time Cam throws an incomplete pass or a drop pass, one of the dudes is taking a football to the face, and that scene is gruesome, and it's bloody and it's gory. Not gory, I wouldn't say gory, but like, well, if you're squeamish, you're not going to like it. But like, he takes this football multiple times to the head, and it rearranges his grill. It's nasty looking, and I appreciate it. I was like, wow, you went for it. That's some nice low level gore. Um, Sorry, outside, someone's car is getting stolen. I don't know. I think you guys could probably hear that. So, anyways, let me carry on here. There, it stopped. So, as we carry on here, after that sequence, there's more and more sequences like this in the movie. Not necessarily the physical demanding side of the football, but there comes some very mental games being played in here as well between Isaiah and Cam. And it's just interesting to watch. And again, a lot of the shots are beautifully shot. The cinematography, super nice. There's a point where there's a beautiful monologue sequence between Isaiah and Cam that pumps up Cam, and Cam's like, he's like jacked up. That's a great sequence because like when he literally plants a dude like down, and it's cut so nicely because maybe I wasn't really paying attention to it because when it happens, it's the two helmets come together and collide and smash apart, and they go into this weird X-ray skeletal mode. Visually beautiful, and at first I thought Cam was dead, like because the way it was cut, I was like, did Cam just eat that whole like because yeah, it just made me think that I was like, oh man, did he eat that whole like headbutt, so to speak, that ram in the head? It was crazy, and it looks so good. But then when it comes out of X-ray mode, it shows that it was another player that Cam smoked, and like Cam's kind of beside himself a little bit, like, oh my god, did I do that to this person? I didn't mean to do that, you know. And it was wild. It was a really nice. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Imagery, and I just like the art style, like the way they just depicted it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mortal Kombat when they do certain combinations and they show the bones breaking. But this is very nice stylized X-ray vision, and they do it a couple times in here with different heat signatures too, and they play a lot with the lighting in the X-ray mode, and they show like this gruesomely blood. I don't know how they did it and filmed it and showed it like that, but it's really nice and I liked it, and it just looked unique and special and something that sets it aside from everything else out there too. And it does really it really does build tension too. It's really well done. They don't do it a lot, but they do it in very specific spots, specifically during the training sequences, and I liked it. I don't need them to do more because like they did what they used it for was good. So as we go on, it looks like Cam is going to pass Isaiah's trials and tribulations, right? And we have this character in here named Elsie, played by Julia Fox, who is Isaiah's wife. And this chick is weird, man. She pops in and out of the movie every now and then, but there's one particular sequence with her where she takes Cam to the club, and it's in a mysterious location. You would never guess it's there. It kind of reminds me of like a lions club uh kind of area. Like I'm sure you guys, like people around the world have lions clubs. Maybe they're like veteran clubs or something like that, but here in Canada we have lions clubs where our veterans go, and they're really just they're I don't even know how to describe them, but they're literally like hole in the walls with nice banquets in them, and you would never know what's going on inside them unless you go inside them. And I've been in a few of them. You go there to drink, you go there for dances, you know, stag and does and stuff like that. So this one is a very special club, and it's full of debauchery, and it's like this is another sequence for Cam to pass, so to speak. And if he can pass this, then he can go on to the next phase. You know what I'm saying? And everything's always like these trials and tribulations that Cam has to pass in order to get to the next level. And in this one, Elsie introduces him to, well, she doesn't introduce him because his manager is there, and he is sitting with a group of um, Oh man, what are they? Well, you could say that they are very rich people who are the owners of the Saviors, and other various groups of interest are ran by these people. And Cam is introduced to them and sits with them and talks with them. And there's a very interesting rituals going on in this movie. In this scene particularly, there's this part where Marco actually tells Cam to like get out while you can, and like he's trying to sort of protect them, but then there's some this is where the movie kind of goes off the rails just a little bit, where you're like, why is this happening specifically to Marco? Because there's a sequence which is very music video-ish, where Elsie is stabbing something and you don't really know what it is, but you kind of piece it together that she's killing Marco, but for what reason, no one really knows, other than maybe he's a sacrifice at this party, and in order for Cam to get to the next level, he has to make a blood sacrifice, and that is what Marco is to these members who are the elite of the club, so to speak. And yeah, that just happens. Literally, it just happens. And then after that, like, what happened after that? There's a, like, dude, this is where it's like, okay, that happened, and now this is happening, and now this is happening. There's a lot of that in this movie, and then this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens. And so now after that happens, we kind of have this sequence where Cam is like, never once, like, Cam has gone so far down this rabbit hole that now he's there's a sequence where he's sharing the sauna with Isaiah, and they have a conversation. And then when Isaiah leaves, one of the super fans that was outside of the compound, Isaiah's compound, somehow breaks in and is in the sauna and tries to kill Cam. And Isaiah saves him and like kills the girl, but no one, like, everyone's just like, yeah, no one believes that it actually happened. And then, and I can't remember where that was in the sequence of things, to be perfectly honest with you. But let's just get to the end, okay? Because that's pretty much where we are. So at the end of this movie, we have a really beautiful scene of, I really like this scene actually, of Isaiah sitting in like this room. It's bathed in red. It's really well lit. Like, Marlon Wayans looks great, and he's just laying in this like kind of chair, we'll say, and he's looking up at this domed ceiling, and on the domed ceiling is this like um, projection of a crowd, a football crowd, of just cheering and cheering and cheering. And the way it looks too is really nice, because it's like in a circle, and it kind of looks like an eye, and it's very demonic because of the coloring and the cheering. And if you know stuff specifically about occultism and arenas and the power of people and all that stuff, this is really powerful imagery going on in this movie. There's tons of imagery in this movie, by the way. I'm just glossing over some of it. And there's the confrontation between Cam and Isaiah, and it's a physical confrontation. Like, for some reason, Cam has had enough. I don't understand why and what triggers Cam to go, I need to get out of this. And the only way for me to get out of this is through Isaiah. But he confronts Isaiah, tries to fight him. Isaiah beats the crap out of him a bit, but then Cam fights back and wins. And it's great. It's also a really nice scene. And he beats and kills Isaiah. And then he goes through the curtain. And then when he goes through the curtain, they show the checkered floor, which is Messianic imagery. And you're just like, okay, like, dude, there's a scene in here. Oh yeah, when they're at the club, they show, like, they flash the Last Supper, but it's all of them. It's a like a very flashy, quick sequence, and you're like, why'd they show that? But we'll come back to that. That's all in the imagery section. There's so much imagery in this movie. So after he defeats Isaiah and he goes through the checkered floor, which is part of the ritual to be elevated to the next level in the Messianic temple, he is now confronted by um, the same people that were at the club that he sat down with. So the owner of the Saviors, his agent, and other people of interest of note. Again, all white people, by the way, just old white dudes. And they're dressed in this like pig outfits. There's layers on layers of imagery at this section. And sitting before him is Elsie with a book, which is a Messianic book, by the way, just in case you don't know. And she's sitting there, and she's telling him to sign. And it's really interesting scene because this is where it kind of becomes more like Eyes Wide Shut. We are watching a ritual right now, and one of the guys, I can't remember who says it, but someone says, you can't really tell in the masks, says sign here, sign here to receive all the gifts and rewards or something like that. It was very very nicely worded, um, like thing. Sign here and you'll receive all the gifts and rewards. And you're like, oh dang, he's going to sell his soul. But this is where the movie twists. Again, just a lot, another twist and turn. And he goes, Cam says no, he's not going to do it. Picks up the hammer and a sword and just starts killing everybody, like all the old men. He kills them all. He kills his manager. Um, he kills Elsie. He kills Malik, kills him. And there's a sequence, a small sequence with the Malik, which it looks like it turns out that Malik is the one who smashed him in the head at the very beginning of the movie because he's dressed in the mascot outfit, and he takes a hammer to the head. Oh, yeah, he doesn't kill his um, he doesn't kill his manager. And then there's also other imagery in here too, where it's like they're showing photos of the Savior's owner with him as a child and his father, and it's kind of showing like, oh, we groomed you, and it tells you like there's a grooming element into this movie too. There's so many things going on in this movie, and it peaks. It's like it's all the way up, and so if you're like in tune to all the imagery that's out there, and you know what they're showing you, you're kind of like, holy crap, how did this movie get made, and how did they freaking put all this imagery in here, and it got passed. But when you know, you know. So that is literally the end. And when he walks away, there's a demonic symbol in the center of the center too, which is the pentagram, and I forgot what else was in there. And then when he walks away, his manager gets sucked into the symbolism, the dais in the middle, and he leaves, and then the guy blows up. Like, yeah. And if you've made it this far listening to me talk about this movie, you're gonna be like going, "What the flip?" You know what I'm saying? What is he talking about? And it's like, yeah, dude, that's the whole movie in a nutshell. And then he walks through the same curtain that he came out of, and it just ends, and that's it. And that's where I go with the ending. That's it. That's the end of the movie. Clap. You know what I'm saying? It's such a wild roller coaster of a ride, especially when you know the imagery and what they're trying to tell you and show you. You're kind of like, holy crap, I'm being sensory overloaded with all this Masonic imagery and Illuminati imagery and demonic imagery and Satanism and occultism and witchcraft. It's like, holy sheesh, man. There's so much of it going on that it's like really like an attack on your senses, so to speak. But when we finished the movie, we were sitting there, and I really thought the ending just kind of whiffed. Like, I felt like we didn't get a good conclusion to what actually happened on screen. Like, I felt like we needed 5 more minutes of explanation, not explanation, but 5 more minutes of storytelling, maybe 10, to go, well, what happened with Cam? Did he did he still pass the ritual? Because a lot of things happened, right? Like, was that part of the ritual, was kill all your owners? Oh shoot, I forgot to tell you about the big reveal between Isaiah and Cam. I have to back up. Oh man, I totally forgot about it. It just dawned on me why they were fighting. Because there was the big reveal. Isaiah and Cam have the conversation, and Isaiah was like, Cam, you are the chosen one. I've chosen you to carry on the DNA slash bloodline of these other athletes. And yeah, I totally forgot about that. So historically, in this movie, in this universe, there was these certain athletes that are like, let's just say top tier genetics. I almost want to say angelic level DNA. We could actually go on a course along the course of the bloodline of Jesus, so to speak. And that was in this one football player, and he passed that DNA on to the next football player through obviously through transfusions and stuff like that. And then that player passed it on to Isaiah. And we do see Isaiah do multiple blood transfusions in this, and he does mention that it's like fresh blood which made me think of Andromacron. If you know what I'm, if you know what I, if you know what I, if you know, you know what I'm saying. And he wants to pass on his bloodline to Cam through blood transfusions, which he does actually. There is a transfusion, at least one. And Isaiah is like, you're the next one. You are who I'm choosing to be the next GOAT who's going to go on and win at multiple championships. And all you have to do is go through and sign. And Cam's like, no, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to kill you and then do everything that I just said. So I forgot about that big reveal. Sorry about that. So then we're at the end. And we are sitting there talking about it. And I kind of feel like we needed to know what happens to Cam after he turns down the offerings. Did he, because right now it's all for nothing, nothing means anything right now the way it ended. And you're like, well, is his soul free? Does he leave the compound? Is he a different man now? Or was that part of the ritual that, like, when he goes through the curtains, what I said is when he goes through the curtains, they should show like it's a press conference now. And it's like, hey, are you ready to play for the Saviors? Blah, blah, blah. Even though he didn't sign nothing, he still passed the ritual, which was the blood sacrifice to the demonic spirits by killing everybody. You know what I'm saying? He passed. It was like, that's the real level is would you kill to get this, right? And it's not necessary. The signing is the cheap way. You probably wouldn't get as much, but you killed all these people and sacrificed blood to the demonic entity of football. Right? Like that's what I'm thinking as I'm watching the ending here. And I'm like, I think I needed that as an ending. Or he was saved and he goes through there and he passes the trials and tribulations of the devil, and now he is saved and he's going to walk the righteous path, so to speak, and do something totally different, or his soul is saved. You know what I'm saying? And when he passes on, he will go to heaven. And that's what we need. We needed something there to explain like all like just to explain like or to tell me this is what the whole point of the freaking movie was. It was a fight for his soul. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm done yapping. I'm done yapping. I do think the ending sucked, but like it was still like I was still entertained, but I just didn't like the ending. You know, and it's like, yeah, yeah, I kind of have to watch this movie again to go over the imagery because there's so much imagery. And through all that imagery, when I was sitting there thinking about it, because I was thinking about this idea, my theory here, when I was at the gym yesterday and I was doing like an hour of cardio and I was just sitting there thinking about the movie, listening to some music, and I'm just trudging along and I was like, was Cam dead the whole time? You know what I'm saying? Because at the beginning of the movie, when he gets whacked on the head, it's a powerful blow. Like I could assume that he was dead, and that the rest of this movie is essentially him, his soul traversing the underworld, and it's a battle for his soul. Will he go to the dark side or will he go to the light side? And that's what I was thinking because and the other part of it that made me think this was when he was being driven from, let's say, from wherever he was to the compound. I was thinking of Chiron, the river Styx, the land of limbo, and he was being delivered across he was being delivered across limbo. The people outside were the souls that are stuck in limbo still, those really demonic entities that are fighting to get into the next area, which is the gates. And we could say the gates of judgment. And from here is the trials and tribulations of will you either be condemned to damnation or will you go to heaven, right? And that's kind of what I was thinking after the fact, like a week later, right? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, or a couple days later, was like, was Cam dead the whole time? And is that what I just watched? And was Isaiah um, like a high level demon that works for that works for Satan, like whoever Satan's left hand warrior is, right? And then all the other people, all the other actors in this movie are demonic entities as well, of various levels and degrees, and it's almost like a Dante's Inferno in a sense, but for Kim. Yeah, I digress. I'm going off. I'm going off. I'm yapping a lot. So, in conclusion, do I think you should see this movie? Um, I think you should go and check this movie out on a cheap night. Like, if you're really, really curious about seeing this movie, I would recommend you see it on a cheap night for sure. Yeah, that would be fine. Tuesday cheap night. Bring your friends. Maybe a date night. It's really crazy imagery. If you're not into satanic occultism, Illuminati, Masons, and all of that other stuff, you will definitely not want to see this movie because it's a lot of powerful imagery. And yeah, I personally think I need to rewatch it again. So I'll put it on my rewatch for sure, probably when it hits streaming. I do not know if I'll buy this movie and put it into my collection. I'm debating that one still because maybe I'll put it in there just as part of the collection with Jordan Peele's movies. I don't know. He's only the producer on this. He didn't really direct it. So I'm not sure what I'll do about that, but it's a 50-50 chance I buy it. Maybe. I don't know yet. That's a tough one. But I do want to see it again because I know there's some imagery in there that I'm just like I missed and I kind of want to see if I'm right about death and him dying or I'm completely wrong. I'll have to sit down and listen to like the directors talk about what they thought with this movie. Anyways, that is it for me. The first Better Late Than Ever review. I'm sure there's more to come. I don't know what I'm going to review next, but yeah, that's it for me. I yapped a lot. I know this is probably really long, and if you watched all of it, I thank you very much. Please leave some comments below. Tell me what you think about this movie. Do you have any ideas? Like, do you think my theory is wrong? You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, that's it. Have a good one. It's Tuesday. Don't work too hard. I gotta go back to work tomorrow. I'm ready to go to work. Actually, I took a whole week off. I kind of miss working, which is weird. So don't work too hard. Have a good one. 3 days until the weekend. Peace out, everyone. Bye.